So, Maurice, talk to people about how you got into clinical studies.
Um, yeah, it's a good question. So pretty much, the way I got started in studies was, I never forget, it was actually two occurrences that happened. The first occurrence was mainly dealing with, it was in Las Vegas, Nevada, where I'm born and raised. And it was a actual job that I had a job offer in the Sunday paper. Imagine that. That's how long ago that was. Because they don't even do the Sunday papers and they throw them at your door anymore. Now it's all online, right? But what happened was in the actual paper, it had a job, and I was looking for jobs at that time. It was a bad time, I was going through the college phase, and it was before the college phase, seeing if I should get into college, student loans, stuff like that. And I saw an ad in there talking about volunteers needed. Okay. So when I went to this place, it was off of Desert Inn and Pecos. Never forget, Desert Inn and Pecos. I think it was Novum Pharmaceutical. Yeah. And at this time, I never heard of clinical studies. I didn't know what it was. I was like, what is that? Right? But it talked about the money in the paper, in the section. A little ad talked about 3,000, 5,000, 8,000, 10,000. Oh, wow. And you're talking about for a period of time of, like it said, for like maybe 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. And I'm like, automatically my mind thought that's a lot of money, to make in a little period of time, right? And me having a rough background, I mean, ex-military, even though I got honorable discharge, but I didn't go to war in Desert Storm at that time. So I was having a rough time back here as a civilian, right? And then the jail with traffic tickets and just different things of insurance and stuff, and ex-felon, just all kinds of stuff that was really against me with getting jobs. So I figured, why not give it a shot and see what it's about? So when I went down and they did the interview, they found out that I would be a good candidate to work there. And customer support, like the sales department, the customer support department. And I was the one that be taking the calls. It's called intake and outtake. So outpatient, pretty much. When you call on the phone, it's a screening. When you talk to somebody, they're the ones asking you the questions on the phone. So that's the first time I heard about it. And I had a chance to do the actual job, but I turned it down, mainly because I was just about to start. I knew people that worked on the inside, and you're talking about, this is 2007, I believe, 2006. This is a long time ago, right? So at that time, I saw they were working 50, 60, 70 hours a week. Oh, wow. A lot of overtime, right? Pretty good money, like $10 an hour, I think. It was pretty good money, but I saw there were people who are on the inside that they were the volunteers that the paper was talking about. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to do the job per se, but I wanted to do the volunteer. So I found out that way. That was the first time I found out about it. Now I dabbled in it. I dibbled and dabbled. I didn't really get that far involved in it because I kept hearing the stereotypes of what people say. Hey, you're gonna get this, and something's gonna happen. I don't want to get 6 toes or 5 thumbs or whatever, right? So, but that it couldn't be farther from the truth. It couldn't be farther from the truth. That was absolutely nonsense. I've come to understand that people, if they just don't know anything about something, they look to speak about something they don't know, and it's ignorant. It's not true. If you haven't learned it, and if you haven't been taught by someone, if you're not an expert yourself, then how can you lead someone astray to something that you've never been done yourself? You don't know, right? So that's why I figured, I'll just, dabble in it here or there. All right. The second time, on the other hand, I found out about the studies, which I really dove deep. And that was when I was going through that hard time with my ex. That was 2000 and I believe that's 2014, 2015. It was hard times, homeless. That's what most people know me as. They know from my backstory. I was homeless. I was not a place to go. I had my kids. I had 6 kids at this time. 1 boy, 5 girls, right? My twins didn't come yet. My 2 twins, right? Genesis and Revelation. So at that time, it was really, really living on bus stops in Salvation Army. I just got through reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. right? And then the cash flow quadrant, his second book, changed my life, right? But I was still homeless. I was still sleeping on the park benches in Salvation Army. Like, how was I going to get out of that situation? You know, so it's at that point that I say, you know what, I'm just going to go all in with these studies. You know, I knew I had to get to where they had the most, and I've never been outside of Las Vegas, Nevada, or Arizona, Phoenix at that point, Mesa and Phoenix. I'd never been outside of them two states in my life. So I said, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and just go. I mean, living in another state, I'm saying. So I said, I'm going to come to Texas. And that's when I took this journey to get to Texas, from Minnesota to Florida to, to get to Texas. And obviously that's where I met you, right? And obviously that's where a lot of things changed for the better, because these studies, there's so many here in Texas. Literally, there's like 7, almost 8 actually, now that I can think of. And that changed everything, because now you literally I could just do a study to study to study, month to month to month. My foundation, financial stability was getting better, and everything changed, right? So that's when I first found out about studies, and that's how it took me from being broke, poor, just hopeless, homeless, showering at Gold's Gyms and YMCA's, and you know my story. I just do temp jobs, all kind of temp services, I recall this temp service job. I don't know if it's Pure Flavor or something. I remember what we had to cut vegetables, right? It was so cold in there. I was like, "Oh, they got you in an ice box, right?" And I'm like, "Man, it's got to be a better way. It's got to be a better way." And yeah, the studies was the way. So that's where I first found out about studies. That's where I first went all in. So it was a long time ago.
Okay, awesome. So Maurice, tell me, what is your story? I know a lot of people want to know where you came from and what is your background?
Mainly, my story deals with, there's a I'm writing a book about this now, actually. I can't wait to publish it, right? But it's going to be a lot. This becoming of a role model that I've gotten to, it took a toll. It took a long time. And I noticed that, when I look at a lot of stories of old, a lot of people, you see people's backstory, you see their epiphany that they had, right? Where everything changed, but then you see they hit a wall, something happened to stop them. And then you see the desires come out, right? What they really want versus what they think they want, right? They think they want money. A lot of people do, but there's something deeper than just money. It's got to be, we always talk about this as being funnel hackers and things of that nature, different things of that nature. There's always something deeper. It's the impact versus the income, right? The income is over the impact. Oh, no, reverse that. The impact is over the income, right? So my backstory, I grew up not a single family home. I had both of my parents. They've been together for 40 years. Happy marriage, as you say, a long time. I'm the only child. It's just me. My mom got kind of sick at a young age with arthritis, so she couldn't have any more kids. My dad, I know my father wanted to have 2. He wanted a girl and a boy, right? But she got arthritis really deteriorated her hips. She had to be in a walker. So at least for about, I say, a quarter of my life, from at least 6, 7 years old, from when I can remember, all the way till, I say, right before high school, in my last year of junior high school, 8th grade, I was pretty much helping my mom be rehabilitating. Oh, wow. She couldn't walk. She had to go from those surgeries, 3 to 4 total hip surgeries, to walking again. And at that point, I kind of found out how powerful money works in your life, because when you don't have the money, you can't have the proper health care. At this time, this is way pre-Obamacare and all this insurance stuff. At this time, my father had to do the noble thing, which I called him. That's why I say he's the role model that started off for me, right? Is that all of us have role models in our lives. We all have someone that we look to teach us and show us the way and things of that nature, to pave the way so we can follow, right? And he was mine, my father, because I've seen him go to 2 jobs. You're talking about 15, 16 hours. Just to make sure one job took care of insurance for my mom's operations. The other job was to take care of the household and stuff. My mom couldn't work, right? So she just got disability, stuff like that, Social Security and stuff. So I helped her rehabilitate to walk again, to the walker. I was giving my mom baths, rubbing her down, her ankles, her back, her feet. She always used to go get these little shot injections to drain the fluid out when it gets too swole, like edema, like get a lot of water, fluid and all that. So it was a trying time. I didn't go outside much. I think that's where I really got into who I am as music and poetry and my artistic side. I read a lot of books. I always liked that animal, looking at Discovery Channel with animals. I was in love with nature and stuff like that. But I got a lot of that stuff being in-house. I was a gamer, playing video games. This is before we had online gaming, where you could have the headphone and talk to people on the internet. But this is before that, right? This goes way back to Sega Channel, right? And right after Atari, like Sega and Nintendo 64, and all of this good stuff. But anyway. Super Nintendo, all that, just way back. PlayStation first came out. Now they got PlayStation 4. This is when PlayStation 1 was just gone. But anyway, make a long story short, I stayed in the house, took care of her a lot. So my childhood, I really didn't have a really big childhood. I have like a couple of best friends I can remember to this day, from middle school to junior high to high school. So I took care of her. After she got a little well in high school, that's when I got into going to start branching out. I mean, I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. You can't really do anything that much under 21. You got to be over 21 usually, legally, right? So that's when I really got into my own. I never did drugs. I never smoked. I never drunk. Even though everybody I hung around did it, I was kind of the designated driver. I was the square, so to speak, L7, that's what everybody called me, right? But they all knew, though, music, I was really, really good. Music and acting and, all this other stuff that came, modeling, everything else, right? But the biggest thing was it was always money. Money was a hindrance. It was a financial handicap for a very, very long time. And the biggest thing is that's why my mom and dad couldn't afford the private nurse. They couldn't afford the nursing and all that, so I had to be that person to help them. As she got a little better, started walking, now you couldn't even tell she had surgeries. She walked fine. Awesome. But it's a blessing. But at that point, that's when I went basketball. I really got into basketball really, really heavily. I had a scholarship to play ball to go to the Army, West Point, right? I had some junior colleges there, but the military recruiter got me into the Army. I wanted to go there. And what they did not say, right, is that if you're the only child, you can't go to war or anything. And this is at the time that Desert Storm was going on in Bosnia and Iraq, 1998, 99. And at this time, wow, it's 10 years ago. Wow. But at this time, I got out the military because I did the basic training. I was supposed to go to AIT training right around Fort Benning, Georgia, where the Airborne Ranger, the Airborne Ranger school is at. But I didn't get to go to that avenue. Even as being a sharpshooter, borderline expert shooter in the military. Go figure, I never shot a gun in my life either. I learned all that in the military. I'm just a quick learner, I guess you could say. I just learn really quick. That's a good attribute I have. But at that point in time, what happened was that I literally went into the military. I got out the military, honorable discharge. And when I came home, that's when life got a little heavy because they weren't talking about any basketball when I went over there. When I got there, it was something totally different than what they were saying at first, right? There was no basketball, right? So with that being said, at that point, everything pretty much changed. Life got hard. I had my children then, and everything happened from that standpoint. And that was my coming up into the times, But that's my background. Like I said, money played a big, heavy role, even in my relationships, money with all the children I have, money played a role because without having it, it made life hard, right? If I had known about these studies when I was right coming from the military or like right out of high school, it would have changed everything. And that's what I want the people to understand, Michelle, is they have a far better opportunity than I had, than you had. They have this at a young age, right? And they can just, the sky's the limit, or the galaxy is the limit for them,
Okay. Well, thank you for that story. So how much money have you made doing these studies?
Whew. It's been a lot. At least, I know it's well over six figures. Sometimes I tally it up. Mind you, at this time, I didn't have an accountant. I didn't have all of that yet, right? So a lot of money was made and just lost, just blown. I didn't have the discipline. I didn't have a lot of the mindset that I have now, right? About wealth and about how riches acquire wealth and how to make money without working, without trading your time, your hours for working, right? Without doing that, right? Just to have time freedom and making money. That's the goal for everybody. I think that's watching, right? And because it's a beautiful thing when you can travel, do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, whoever you want. All right. So that's the goal for everybody. But yeah, it had to be. I know it was over $100,000 easily, and the reason why is because, usually I would tally. I think between the years of 2010 to 2015, I was easily doing, I think, every couple of months a study. And they were big ones. They were like at least like 7 or at one point in time, I didn't want to do any study unless it was like 2 or 3 weeks for $7.5 to $8,000 or $10,000.
Oh, wow.
Right. And a lot of people say, what happened with all the money? A lot of the times, well, I invested. All right. Stuff like that. That's why I don't work anymore. But a lot of it went to take care of bad debt. Student loans ate up a lot of my money, like at least 50, 60 grand of it. Right. And then, and I wish I had known what I know now, like I said, but everything happens for a reason. Right.
Correct.
But knowing what I know now, paying that didn't do anything to help the situation as in the last 3-4 years. I could have been way farther along not paying the student loan stuff, But now that I know, that's why I tell people, that's another topic. I digress, right? But it's all about making money, making wealth. It's not about paying off bad debt. I mean, if anybody knows me, they know I'm a real advocate of rich dad, poor dad, right? Robert Kiyosaki, I follow him to the core, right? Because we just see similar values, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense to work for something that's losing value and it's not going to be in existence that long, which is fiat money, currency, like working for a paycheck or working for that dollar. They call it the mighty dollar, but it's fake. Like in Rich Dad's new book, it's fake. It's not real. Like the Monopoly money you play when you play Monopoly, it's fake money. Right? And that's kind of what the world has, fake money. So you want to work for assets, and it's pretty much that's what I use my money to purchase that for now. But yeah, easily over 100,000, easily, because you tally it up, but making easily like at least 6 times a year. If you're making over 10, that's close to 50, 60 grand. Times that by 5 years, you can see how much that is, right? So you're talking about easily well over 100,000. But I know for a fact the 100K, well, I was happy when I met that mark, But like I said, when you blow your money and you don't have the discipline, you don't really see it. It's just gone. It disappeared quicker than Houdini, right? My money disappeared without even having a magic show or a cape or a wand, right? And it's gone at that time. But since I got disciplined, it's been much, much better. So
that's good. That's good. So how long did it take to make that?
But 100,000, that took at least less than 3 years. I think it was less than 3 years. And you're talking about not doing anything. I know there's a lot of people online. 100,000 may not seem a lot to a lot of people now because you got these digital marketers, you got network marketing, you got all these things online, right? Funnels, doing funnels and launching things. But to make that kind of money without working at all, right? I mean, just taking a little pill, oral or whatever have you, whether it's Advil versus Tylenol, whether it's whatever, pharmaceutical drug, the investigational versus the name brand, whatever have you, you're not doing anything. You're literally sitting around just relaxing, chilling. You've done studies before, Yeah. You're in a dorm setting with other like-minded people like you, and you're all just getting paid to just sit around and be monitored and have fun.
But you can't leave.
Yeah, you can't leave. It depends on if you do the inpatient ones. They pay the most. I mean, they have outpatient ones, as you know, that you can go and come as you please for people who work jobs. That's good for them. But they don't pay as much as the ones where you're, in the house, when you stay. But yeah, it didn't take less than 3 years, easily, right? Right now, if I was to say, if I wanted to start fresh, like right now, if I lost it all, starting fresh right now, I can make that 100,000 in less than probably 2 years, probably a year and a half, because I know how to do it better now, right? That's what the people, I want them to understand. There's a better way of doing it now, and there are more studies now than before because it's grown. The industry has grown.
So, Maurice, why do you think people need to know about clinical studies?
Well, I think people really need to know about clinical studies for the simple fact that um, for two reasons. On a moral standpoint and on a financial standpoint, of course, right? Morally, I would say, because you got to look at what you're doing here. It's borderline like I tell people with tax liens and tax deeds, like a good example, right? You're morally doing a good thing, right? Paying off the property tax. You're actually paying like a tax lien. You're giving the homeowner extra time to come pay it. So that helps them out. Plus, it helps the county because of taxes and everything like that, right? So, like in the same example with clinical studies, you're literally part of the pharmaceutical industry helping them to find a cure, right?
Right.
For illnesses, diseases, just all types of things that affects humanity in dealing with just illness. So being that you take part in that, it's a moral pledge that you're doing, because they can't make any of these drugs come to life without being, if they're harmful. We need to know what the side effects are.
Mm-hmm.
They need people to do this, and they test a mild. I always tell people that you want to look at the lowest. This is part of what I teach in my course, right? In my clinical study secrets, right? You want to look at the lowest doses possible. That way you're not going to really get any side effects. It's very rare. I mean, can you get them? Yes. Like anything, there's a risk with anything. Anything in life is a risk. When you go to work every day, it's a risk, right? Yeah. People got to commute to work, going in traffic. You know how many accidents happen? A lot, especially in rush hour, right? So things happen. Your job, is that safe all the time? Not all the time. I mean, at any given time, if they find out from above that they have orders or they have something that, they have to cut back, then they have to let you go. They don't have to give you a warning, because you're just an employee, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. There's a risk with anything. But yeah, on a moral standpoint, you're doing a good thing. You're not just getting a paycheck, right? You're doing a good thing, helping people in the world that can't help themselves. Does it make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So, and then of course there's a financial gain, right? Obviously, you're getting paid a large sum of money that you would never get paid that much working at a regular 9 to 5, even with a college diploma. I see a lot of people make so much money when they do this they take this serious, right? Take it as a career or whatnot, just to get to where they want to go, right? They make more money than your normal and middle class person, whether it's a doctor, lawyer, people that make a lot of money, because they have a degree, so to speak, right? So nothing knocking a degree in anything like that or school, right? But it's just, this is a way where you can experience time freedom, right? Financial freedom, So the money you can make is astronomical. You're making big amounts of money on a monthly gain, So that's the biggest thing I would say, is that those two reasons, people should know about these studies. That's the reason why I'm putting together the interview, talking to you, a lot of interviews, podcasts that I'm doing and publishing, and I'm traveling abroad and telling a lot of people, because they need to understand this, but they need to understand on a professional level, not just doing it just to, it's a side hustle. Oh yeah, it is a way to make extra money, of course. But when you really put your mind to this and you really let that money work for you, you'd be surprised what you can accomplish and the people you can help.
Okay, my next question. Why did you put together a course called Clinical Study Secrets?
The reason why I put the course together, Clinical Study Secrets, is because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of hearing people not do this the right way, right? They give this a bad name. It's kind of like what Eric Worre, one of my mentors, early mentors in network marketing, says, right? Give it a bad name when you don't do it professionally, right? When you don't go pro, right? If you want to do something, do it professional. Be a professional, right? Don't do it half dallying, just lethargically doing something, and then you give it a bad name because you had a bad experience. That's another thing. I have so many people that talk bad about clinical studies, but that's because they had a bad experience. They didn't do it right. When you have a teacher, someone to show you how to do it, you have some kind of a mentor, some kind of, some role model, so someone that you can emulate, you can mimic their success.
Mhm.
Oh, it's beautiful when you have that, right?
Right.
So the reason why I put together that course is going to tell you every single thing that you need to know about clinical study trials. There's really no question in there. And I took a lot of interviews from doctors. I took a lot of interviews from staff, medical staff in the studies.
Oh, wow.
Right? I got a lot of hundreds of just data and intel from people doing studies now.
Like feedback.
Yeah, feedback to know exactly what they wanted to know when they first started out, right? As well as people who don't even know what they are. I got a lot of feedback from them too. So in the course, it's well tested. I always like to say that it's studied, tested, approved, right? You don't have to worry about if it's going to work. Of course it's going to work, right? And for a mere price, if it's only $100, you can't, there's no way. I think, and I perceive that it's one of the best courses out there in the world about just so far as in the wealth industry and also in the health industry, because it's going to teach you about side effects. It's going to teach you about why these studies exist, as well as not only where they come from, but how you can profit from it, right? Because if you can profit from it with little amount of effort of work and a gigantic upside, it's it's like the best thing since sliced bread, right? Right?
Okay. So what would you say are the pros and cons in doing clinical studies?
The pros and the cons. That's a good question. That's a real good question.
Plenty of them, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, just to keep it short, because a lot of this is going to be in the actual study secrets, so that people can be able to see all of this in the course. But to keep it short, I would say we all know the pros. I mean, the pros is you get time freedom, much time freedom as you want. You could get to do whatever you want, when you want, how you want. I mean, pretty much what you do, like in your regular life, you could do in a study. On the inside, I'm saying, whether you read, whether you do college work or high school or whatever work you do, or whether you do like video games, right? Or you play card games, chess, one of my favorites, of course, right? Or poker, dominoes, whether you watch movies. A lot of people like movies. They got movie rooms, they got theater rooms, I mean, obviously, you can take a shower whenever you want. You can go to bed, take naps whenever you want. I mean, it's just like a vacation without the expenses, right? So that's the pros. Plus the money you're going to get, of course. I mean, you're going to get paid out. Sometimes you get a little card they give you, where you get paid on the card, direct deposited there, or you get a check and you got to cash the check. But the bottom line of it is you get a massive amount of money in a little bit of time. Right. So far as the cons, I would say the cons is always going to be like some people say, well, I don't like getting my blood drawn. Right. And a lot of times when you go to the doctor or go get a physical, you got to get that done. If you're a healthy individual, because that's what these studies are for healthy. They got all kinds of studies, but I'm only talking about the ones that are for healthy individuals. Right. You might say, well, I don't think I'm healthy. Well, what does it hurt to go and give it a test drive? Test it out and see. It doesn't hurt to go and call on the phone or to go there and follow the study secrets that I give, right? Mm-hmm. And see if it works for you. I can guarantee one thing: if it does work, you're going to be happy you did, because there's no way you're going to be able to get that gigantic upside. But like I said, whether it's a blood draw, whether it's some people don't like the food that's in there. That's another con, right? Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like it's Benihana's or Olive Garden or some great place that you like to eat, 5-star restaurant, right? They have very good food, very good catered food, healthy, for seeing how the food interacts with what the drug, the name brand or the generic drug that they're giving you, right? So they want to see how it works with that. But you're gonna eat real good. You don't gotta worry about that, especially if you're in the studies in Texas. I mean, because Texas just do it big, but studies all over the United States, whether it's Arizona, whether it's California, whether it's Minnesota, Florida, wherever. So,
you can't bring your own food in, correct?
No, you can't. No, they give you everything that you need there, so you don't really need anything. But we'll cover all that's covered in the study secrets. So yeah, I tell everybody what they need to know. So, but the pros and cons, I can't really think of too many cons because the pros outweigh the cons like 1,000,000,000 to 1, right? There are cons, just like with anything in life, but there's far too many pros that outweigh the cons. And then the best part about it is, I think to fully answer your question, Michelle, is everything is voluntary. You literally are signing a disclosure, so you can choose to leave if you don't want to be there. If you're not comfortable, you can leave. And they'll pay you up until that time. So you have full freedom in your favor to do what you want.
So where do you see your studies going in the near future?
Where I see studies going, I see, well, for one, when I launch this clinical study secrets, because it's very much soon going to launch, it's going to cause, even with the recording of y'all listening to this, the viewers, it's going to be probably launched by that time. I'm helping 1,000 people, right, in the minimum time if I can, hopefully in a month. I know a year is a long shot, but I know a month is what I want. It's not a long shot to me. 1,000 people I want to help to get into doing these studies so they can change their lives for the better, financially, their health, because they get more aware. They get to get physicals and doctors and nurses and everybody looking at your health, so you get to see that you're STD free, that you're drug free, that you don't have anything going on with your body. They get to let you know what's going on. These are your personal files where you can know. It's like you're getting a free checkup and physical and fully everything wrong with your body every month. So that's why it's like they keep you healthy. Not just you got to be healthy, but they keep you healthy doing them. So, and once you get a taste of it, it's like once you get that little itch, you're not going to want to stop. Not until you, obviously, like I teach in the Study Secrets, how to go from doing this to be wealthy doing exactly what you want to do. Because that's the goal, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not kid ourselves. We really want to do whatever we want to do in life. We all have different dreams, aspirations, different things that we want to do. All you need a lot of the times is the capital, is the revenue, the money. If you had that, a lot of people will be doing different things what they want to do in the world, right?
Right.
So even if you like your job, you love your job, what does it hurt to have some extra little income coming in, like an extra paycheck every month that's coming that you didn't work for? That doesn't hurt. And that can help. That can help to offset a lot of things, right? Vacation, leisure money, play money, whatever, it's up to you. But yeah, I really see studies going to get very, very vast. I feel that more states and cities are going to have more facilities open up because they're going to see more of a professional, like I said, I'm looking at helping thousands of people. And the more people I help, the more professional these people will be. Well, they'll know the right way to do it. A lot of the times, the reason why studies are at a standstill is because the participants that come there, they're not fully aware of what's going on. And even though they tell you in there, they tell you the guidelines, the rules, the policies, they let you know how it goes. When there's more people doing them, the more money they make, the more money we make. Yeah. Everybody makes money, right? And there's more than enough money. You're talking about a $1 trillion industry here, the pharmaceutical industry. They're not hurting by giving you money, right? Not at all. So I see it going far. I'm just looking to do my part with helping spread the word much as possible to help everyday, average, normal people. You know what I mean? To be able to have extra income coming in or to have above average income coming in. That's my mission, my purpose, my task to help with this project. So yeah, I see studies going far. Like a lot of people should know about it and become more aware, especially if they take the Clinical Study Secrets course. I'm hoping everybody spreads the word, tell everybody else about it, get more people involved. So
you got my vote.
Oh, thanks. I feel like I'm running for president now. You know what I'm saying?
All right, Maurice. So I have one last question for you.
All right, and I have an answer.
Do you think I would make a good candidate for doing studies?
Oh yeah. Anybody. Definitely. They're going to let you know your BMI, your body mass index, weight and your height versus and things like that, so you can see what that is. No matter if someone is 18 to 45, then they have studies at 55 or 50, or they go up to 80 I've seen, right? So they have different studies. It's just about, even the Study Secrets will help you, Michelle, because it'll be able to teach you everything you need to know, as well as where to go to look for the best ones, what they're going to do, what they're going to practice there, and you can pick and choose what you want to do.
Okay.
Also, the age group, you can see which ones and what medicines they're going to be testing. You can see all of that, and you can see the pay, of course, the money. You see the money you will make. But yeah, I highly suggest, and you can be able to travel. I know you say you like to travel.
Oh yeah.
So with that being able to like to travel, these study secrets, the income that's coming in, a lot of people I know take money and they go off to Casablanca or Europe, Barbados, Bora Bora, Dubai. You know what I mean? A lot of places, because let's not kid ourselves. You need money to go to these places, right? To enjoy the finer things of life, to enjoy all the pleasantries life can give. So it's not a problem doing the studies. You just, I guess what I'm saying to you is you're just doing, as I'm describing to all the people, you're using these studies as leverage, right? Remember I told you that rich and wealthy they love these two words, cash flow, leverage, right? So you're using these studies as leverage to get cash flow to do whatever you want to do, right? Whatever your vision, whatever you want to do in life, you're just using the studies as a way to get that. Excuse you. And not to mention that you're also helping people in the process. You're helping a lot of people. So yeah, I know you'll be a great candidate. You're in great shape, especially for your age. Great shape. You're not going to have a problem getting in. And I know you're going to love it there. I know you like movies and stuff like that. So you'll probably be watching movies just relaxing when you're in there. But yeah, you'll be making a lot of money while you're doing it, right?
So this is better than doing plasma, correct?
Oh, yes. Oh, far better. Right. Don't get me wrong. I don't know what you did plasma before? Or?
Yeah, I did plasma for about a year.
Yeah. I mean, not to knock it or anything. I used to be a phlebotomist. That's how I know about the study, also about blood draws, and I know about how easy this can be for all of you. I used to be a phlebotomist and work in a plasma bank. Go figure that, right? This is before I got into studies real deep. 2007, I believe, 2008, this was. And I went to a school. It was like a little vacational school, like 6 months. They teach you how to do it, and then you got to have a residency. They get you in some place to be a phlebotomist.
Right.
So I could have very well been one of the phlebotomists in the study, right? But I went to a plasma center, and I can tell you, hands down, right, total experience here. The level of severity of how difficult, right, the plasma is versus studies is insane, right? I mean, if anyone has ever done, listening to this, ever gave plasma, I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't like to be mean, I just like to call it like I see it, right? I mean, that's how I became rich and wealthy, right? You know, it's such a lowball way of making money doing plasma. I mean, they're not even giving you to the extent of what you're giving. Plasma and the blood in your body that's the lifeline of your body. You're literally giving your life, right? And they're giving you scraps. I think last time I saw it was like 30, 40 bucks, 50 bucks or something like that. Yeah. And that's insane. And you got to be there hours. I know, because I used to be one doing the phlebotomist to people there. Yeah, and it's just not what it's...
Waiting in line first.
Yeah, it's nowhere near what it's cracked up to be. So stop doing plasma. Please, if you hear this, stop doing plasma. You should do studies. Get these clinical study secrets. Go do a study. You'll see the difference for yourself. Same thing with you when you do yours. But you've done it before, so you see the... Tell the people, I mean, what do you think the difference is between plasma and doing a study? Because you've done them both when I share with you about studies, and you did some studies, right?
Right. Plasma, you're just sitting on a chair and pretty much having a blood tube pumped into your arm, which if you don't drink enough water prior to, you're going to be there hours. Mm-hmm. But other than that, as far as doing the clinical studies, yeah, that was my number one.
I mean, would you say, if you had a choice right now and you're telling the people, what would you pick? Studies?
Oh, of course, studies.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I stopped doing plasma years ago.
I'm sorry?
I stopped doing plasma.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to do that, folks. It's just not worth it. When you can compare apples to apples, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Once you find about the studies, that's pretty much all you need to know. So, there it is. Is there any more questions?
Nope, that was all I have for you. And I want to thank you for doing this wonderful interview with me today.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope that is valuable for you. And you know, when you get your study secrets, I think you already got yours. So I know it's valuable for you, and I wish you the best with those.
Thank you.
You can always, you know, you have the support line, support@clinicalstudysecrets.com.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions you need. Me and my staff, we constantly look at that a lot, me and my team, to help many people as possible with questions, with inquiries about studies. But more than anything, we just want you all to benefit, you know, because it's benefited our life. It's beneficial. So we want everybody to benefit from this. So yeah, thanks for having me. And I just hope that is valuable to your audience and to other people as well. You know, definitely be on the lookout too, not to make a plug here, but be on the lookout for the Clinical Study Secrets podcast. You know, that radio show is going to be very, very big. You can see it on the Apple, you know, iTunes, or so far as in Google Play or Stitcher if you have Android. So you could download that, and yeah, it's going to be a big thing.
To it.
We'll have a lot of different people. I'm going to have guests on the show. Maybe I could perhaps have you on there one day, talk about your experience with studies.
Okay.
You know, I like to get people to tell. We like to interview people and get their stories about what the study is like when they did it. You know, just how it changed their life. What was their epiphany? What's their backstory? You know, all of that. So, and you know what they think about studies. So yeah, tune in for that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.